I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. And Andrew, can you believe it? We've got a super special guest today.
A super special guest. Ooh,
yeah.
That's even more special than you usually say.
And you say that every time, but I think I say that every time.
That is true. I do say that every time.
Join me in introducing a writer, podcaster, video maker, based creator. It's Matt Baume. Yeah!
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for accepting the worst introduction I have ever given to a guest. That was very kind of you.
Happy to,
charity,
as long as
charity.
I just like the attention.
And I've once mispronounced someone's name, so let me just say that.
Here I know you got it right. Here I am. Ta-da!
Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be exciting, especially because people have probably already read the title.
Yeah. I am delighted for any opportunity to broach this topic, so I cannot wait to talk about this movie.
All right, so this was your pick, so I'm going to let you introduce. What are we talking about this week, Matt?
We are talking about The Apple, a 1980 sci-fi disco rock Bible allegory fiasco that it is. I was thinking about this the other day. I think this may be one of my in my top 5 favorite films. I think it is just like
I can see that.
I have lost count of the number of times I've seen this movie, easily over a dozen.
Oh my God.
It's an easy watch. It's fun.
It is. I love showing this to people. I love introducing them to it, and like half watching the movie and half watching people's reaction to just the what is happening look on people's faces as they see this film is such a joy.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone have their BIM stickers? Or?
Oh yeah, I got my BIM sticker all at the ready. Like we're all indoctrinized into BIM. On that note, cue the music, Bree.
Magic apple, mystery apple. Take a little ride, let me be your guide through the apple paradise. Juju apple, voodoo apple. Take a little bite, spend the splendid night in our garden of delight.
So The Apple is a musical with music by a husband and wife team, Kobe Recht and Iris Recht. They wrote the lyrics as well. And a script by Menahem Golan, who you might know from Canon Films, who is notorious for many different reasons. If you've watched Red Letter Media, you know that name well. And it is based on the Bible. Sure, we'll say that.
Yeah.
It premiered for inspired.
Yes,
by something for sure.
It was inspired by LSD.
Mm-hmm.
And it is attributed as one of the writers. It premiered for a wide release on November 21st, 1980, and the plot of which, in the not-too-distant future, the future being 1994, a naive, idealistic young couple enters the music industry. But just when their dreams seem to really about to be coming true, they encounter drugs, greed, and the dark underside of rock and roll. And
it is dark. It's like, that doesn't even touch on the sort of the magical or supernatural elements of the movie. Like, it really catches you off guard with just how fantastical it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Matt, when did you first watch The Apple? What was your introduction to it?
I have to give full credit to the wonderful Alonso Duralde, who is a movie critic. He's one half of the film critic couple on Linoleum Knife, who many years ago, he was in San Francisco, where I lived at the time, and he was giving a presentation based on his book, 100 Movies Every Gay Man Should See. It's some variation on that. So it was just like this marathon sprint through clips of the queerest movies, or like the must-see films for gay men. And some of them were like the classics, like, I don't know, The Women, or, the Wizard of Oz. And then others were more obscure. This is how I also discovered the film Mahogany. And he had just this one brief clip. I think it was one brief clip of Xanadu and one brief clip of The Apple. And I was like, I got to know more about this, whatever this is. And that was that. I got the DVD from Netflix, because those are back in the days when you get the red envelopes in the mail. And I was hooked. I was just hooked at that point. I was already a big fan of fiascos like Xanadu. And I was like, I've discovered the greatest work of art I've ever seen. I just love when a movie is so full of choices. They don't have to be the right choices, but when a movie really commits to what it's going to be. And that's exactly what this film does.
It doesn't hold back at all.
No.
There's There's no undertones in this
No,
movie.
it's all
It's
overtone.
all overtones.
Yeah.
Matt, I hope you'll forgive me, but Andrew just watched this for the first time, I think 2 days ago. So, Andrew, if you could do your best to describe what the plot of The Apple is,
Oh,
I
good
would
Lord.
really appreciate it.
Okay. Oh boy. So there's like some sort of music competition happening at the beginning, I believe. And I think it's an artist group called BIM. I could be wrong about that. That might be a genre.
No, it's Boogaloo International Music. So it
Okay,
is an
so it's-
acronym.
Okay. So it's not an artist or a genre, it's a record company?
Yeah, it would be like if a band was also called Columbia Records.
Yeah, it doesn't really make that much sense. But yeah, and BIM like is being backed by the devil, like the literal actual devil. It's Satan. It is Satan. There's no question. So
Are you sure?
What? Don't play with me like this, okay? And then there's a young naive duo playing a love song, and they're also in the competition. And the people, at first, they don't like them because they're not the new hip thing, but then everyone's like remembering the old days when love songs existed, and they start to like them, and they get enough heartbeats that the Satan has to step in and stop them from winning the competition.
With a mini red tape.
Yes, and it plays like an annoying noise over the speakers or something. But I guess they get enough attention that Satan calls them into his office to have them sign a record deal. But the male member of the duo is like, "Nuh-uh, this is weird and I don't like it. And also, I just had a vision of hell."
And an
literally,
earthquake.
when I went to sign the contract. So I'm not going to do that. But the lady is like, "Man, that's super cool. I'm the Eve analog. I'm going to sign the contract."
The titular apple.
Yeah, I'm going to eat the apple. And then things spiral out of control, and we start going into like all of the satanic panic type tropes where it's like, oh, the mark of the beast, and everyone has to wear it, and there's nothing you can do. And the devil has like full control of the government and everything, but this young man who didn't want to sign the contract, he stands up to it all and finds a group of hippies or something, and it gets so crazy I don't even know how to describe it.
And then God shows up in the movie.
And then God
ends.
shows up at the end, and that's how it does. Like the plot doesn't even go anywhere. It's just like, oh, and then God's here, and now it's over. God's like, bye, we're leaving.
And that sums up, and let's just say, even if you heard that and then you watch the movie, you're still gonna have a blast. This isn't a thing where the plot's gonna bother you.
I don't even think I touched on everything that happens at all. Like, there's just so much wild, fun things that happen.
Yeah.
I can't describe it all. I don't know.
It's a real romp.
I hope I was relatively accurate, but it's there you go.
I mean, was he accurate, Matt? You've seen it a dozen times.
I think it's not entirely fair to ask someone to summarize the plot because there's a kind of lack of continuity or at least causality in this film.
That's what I'm saying, right?
It makes it sort of like a dream. So it's like describe the plot of a dream. But there are some I think legitimately great songs. There's some wild costumes. There's an extremely graphic, a sexy time song. Gosh, what else? There's. Yeah, it's. I think you nailed the main beats, and the real pleasure of it is just the complete bafflement. I think that a viewer, an average viewer, feels upon watching some of the artistic choices that are made, and some of the performances that are so big. Miriam Margolyes is in this, by the way, Professor Sprout from Harry Potter, and a million other things, but. She makes a brief appearance as a landlady, and she's just a real hoot as well. It's really it reminds me of something that Roger Ebert wrote in response to one of John Waters' films, which is I believe he called Pink Flamingos. He said it cannot be evaluated as a film; instead, it must be evaluated as a fact. And I feel similarly about The Apple. It's not so much a film as it is a fact that exists.
It is a fact that it exists.
Yeah.
strangest choices, I guess. So could we go into that at all?
Yeah. Like, how do you want to tackle it? You want to like just go through some of the highlights? Start at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, one of my personal favorites is just straight up everyone has stickers on their face.
Yeah.
Like it is you. I mean, watching the movie, you're gonna notice that constantly. Everyone has stickers on their face. It's a plot point, but it is just so weird.
Yeah, these holographic stickers. One of the lovely art choices that they made in this film is that the future, the 90s as decided by the late 70s, was just going to be a lot of holographic stuff just on things. Just, it does that thing where it's like future cars. It's just going to be like 70s boat cars with like a lot of stuff glued to it. And future clothes are just going to be like 70s bell bottoms but with hologram stickers on them. And like the hologram on the forehead is sort of like the mark of the beast, I guess it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I went to a screening of this in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, and there was somebody there handing out little stickers so everyone could wear their
I
BIM
want
marks.
one. I kind of wish I could have gotten one for this episode just to wear it, but it's like, where are you going to get a little BIM mark? I mean,
Somebody, I mean,
Etsy.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like if you think about I'm trying to think if there's an actual analog, because one of the wild things about this film is the stuff that it kind of gets right, which is the idea that we would choose pop stars by a national televised vote. Well, that is a thing. I mean, it's happening.
Something up that's connected there. You might already know this, Matt.
The Nigel connection, right?
Yes. The choreographer of this would go on to create like shows like American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, and all that. America's Got Talent. It's crazy. Like, you just
where did
stole
they
that
get
from
the
the
idea,
Apple.
do you think?
And is the devil involved in all of those programs?
Yes.
Ooh, yes. His name's Howie Mandel.
Yep, there he is. Yeah, but I think that it's fascinating that they got that detail right. Like, obviously, like, talent shows have always existed, but getting that, like, national televised, like, pop star competition thing in there it's wild that's there.
The heartbeats measurement is a little bit, I don't get it. Like, what are they measuring?
It's so strange. Isn't that weird? It's, like, such an ephemeral thing. Like, they measure the enthusiasm of the crowd through some sort of, like, through heartbeats, through a measurement of heartbeats. Is it, like, the average heart rate of the audience?
Yeah, like,
I think that's kind of cool.
Are they
all
like,
wearing
the
Apple
audience
Watches?
is being stressed out, like they still consider the performance better?
That's the thing that's crazy, because like the slow like acoustic love song is like getting the heartbeats up there, and it's like
Making the audience horny.
maybe that's it. Oh yeah, it's the galvanic skin response. That's what they're measuring.
I mean, I kind of get the idea in my mind as a sci-fi idea, like, oh, the more heartbeats you get, the more into a song you are. But in execution and like trying to figure it out practically in this world, it makes no
As an
sense.
introduction to the movie, it's like, this is in the first scene.
Yes.
It's like, you have to figure out what a heartbeat is.
They'll never pass 150 beats. It's 151 beats right now.
Honestly, I'd be very concerned. Like if that is the heart rate, like it's time to get worried. How's the audience doing?
The audience is not feeling good right now.
This is not one of those films that I really like belabor the logic of it really heavily.
Well, you can't.
Sometimes I'll watch something and be like, well, that doesn't make sense. But I do kind of like give up very rapidly on that kind of thing. And just, it's a real pleasure just to get into the silliness of like that opening number. I think it does a great job of setting the tone. It's a diegetic song. So like, we don't even realize we're in a musical at first. We just think it's like a concert movie, maybe. We're in that song, and I think it is kind of a banger. Like the Do the Bim or whatever the title is.
It's like, hey, Bim's on the way.
Yeah, Bim's on the way.
And I do feel bad. Like there was like a wave of films, and Xanadu's, among them, that didn't get the memo that disco is on the way out. Like they just didn't realize that we're like reaching sort of a tipping point. Because it does have kind of like a real fun disco vibe. Even in that opening number, later on there's a song called Speed that is just like a work of art. You want to talk about like your heart rate going up? It's so intense. I've always wanted to see it like a drag number to that song. It's like just this high power, like it's so clearly about like drugs. It's so, like just it's just
It's
a
called
tribute to Coke.
Speed.
Yeah.
The next thing you're gonna tell me is I'm Coming is about sex.
Wow.
What?
How about that one? Yeah, reportedly the actress was like too shy to sing it. She had to be like coaxed into singing that song because it's just filthy.
And fun fact, this movie is rated PG, the same
Yeah.
thing as Disney's Up.
Wow, that's that's wild. Anyway, I think it's like all fun and like all stupid. And if you're just like, I'm just gonna have a great time, then you will.
Oh, the countdown is on for like Doug Walker to be like, "Oh, the apple! It makes no sense."
Oh, good Lord, please no.
Yeah, please just.
How is this
explode
not
the world
have
first?
a massive cult following?
I think it does, but
does.
like
It does. Okay.
I think, it lacks a certain, I don't know, breakthrough fame, maybe. Like, people have heard of other fiascos, but I don't know that the apple is quite as prominent because for a long time it was really hard to come by. It was actually when Alonzo, who hosted the screening that I went to, he hosted some sort of screening, like a rare screening many years ago in Los Angeles. They were able to get like a screening print of it, and he hosted it. It wasn't available on DVD, and it was a hit. Like it like packed the theater, and I guess like the story goes, I don't know if this is true, but it's a great story, so let's pretend that it is. The story goes that some executive or somebody who worked at MGM was there and was like, "Oh, people seem to like this. We gotta get this out on DVD real quick." And
Yeah, because they own that, right?
yeah, they hastily released it on DVD, and that's how I found it. But for a long time, you couldn't find it anywhere. Like it wasn't available. Like, oh gosh, I don't know. Like some of the stuff that you might see Elvira hosting.
Mm-hmm. And then let's not forget the accidental director's cut release where someone in 2008 requested a print and they just sent out an earlier work print, which had extended song numbers, deleted scenes, alternate scenes. They're like, oh, okay,
Wait,
we
that
had this
happened?
whole time.
Yeah, there's actually a scene in the trailer that doesn't appear in the movie. It's part of the Child of Love song around the end, where they're like surrounded by candles. It's a very beautiful moment in the trailer, and that just never happens in the movie. But this screening print that they got the wrong print of had it. What I am desperate to see someday is apparently there's this opening number that was incredibly expensive and just a huge disaster that it was just completely removed. It's God and the devil singing to each other amidst all these dinosaurs, and
We'd
it's
set up
never
God?
been seen. Yeah. Oh yeah. We should talk about God. We should talk about the God character, Joss Ackland, the actor.
He just drives down in his car.
It's a literal. What I love about it is it's a literal Deus Ex Machina. Here comes God in a machine. To
Like
resolve
all hope is lost. They're cornered by all of the police and the devil himself. And then who drives down from heaven in his whatever type of car that was? I couldn't even really
1970s
tell.
jalopy thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
But God himself.
And his tone is very. I think this has gone on long enough. Like it reminds me, it's like Riker in that one episode of Star Trek where he's like, "I've had enough of this charade." Like
It's like you could have stopped this at any time.
It's like the Watcher in the Marvel What If nonsense. Like,
yeah.
I guess I should step in now.
It's like, geez, you think?
It's a good it's just like an intervention to put a close to everything and be like, all right, that's enough of that. That's enough silliness. It really does feel like, all right, our runtime's getting a little long here, so we just got to end the movie abruptly. It's like I don't know, a chaperone popping in to be like, you kids, keep it down in there.
Okay, what moment had your jaw on the floor the most? Because there's about 4 coming to my head, and I feel like you're all gonna have more. So I think we should round robin one moment that's like, oh God. The first one that jumps into my head is when Alfie just grabs his landlord's breast out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh my!
I remember that.
And maybe I'm getting a bad implication that he's paying her in sex.
I never got that, but sure. I mean, honestly, why not?
That is a great interpretation. And I have a feeling like Mary Margolis, the actress, would be into that. Like if you've ever seen her on Graham Norton, she has so many like filthy stories. She's a lovely lady. She's family. Her wife, she's a naturalized Australian citizen now. It's a lovely clip of her at a naturalization ceremony, kind of throwing shade at the Prime Minister of Australia at the time. But so anyway, Miriam Margolyes, like a fantastic storyteller, great actress, great fun, and I kind of like the interpretation that she's getting a little extra on the side from Alfie to pay the rent.
That's the vibe I got from it. All right, Andrew, what's one moment that got you like jaw on the floor?
Oh Lord, I mean, I think just when they go into like they have the earthquake and then it just goes to hell. Like they're just there. They're just in hell. I was like, okay. I honestly, I was like, is the entire movie gonna switch now? Like, are we done with like the modern stuff and it's just gonna be now all like direct, like we're just in hell? And then they just go back to the office and it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's over. All right.
The fun was over.
I don't know. But there's like a ton of just what?
That hell set is real hoot. One of the dancers in there has a costume that has always reminded me of the flying spaghetti monster. It's just a bunch of like pool floaty tubes like attached to it. Like the set is huge, but then the costumes really feel kind of like community theater. No shade to community theater, but it doesn't feel like the costumes are in keeping with the budget for the set. And he's just like got these like noodles attached to his shoulder.
I think my favorite is the vampire that jumps up out of nowhere in that song.
Yes.
What a revelation. I was going to say, like, one of my favorite moments of the film. It's a natural desire meet an actual vampire.
What a waste of lyrical space. How many actuals is that?
A waste. Are you kidding me? They needed that time.
It's building it up. Yeah. You're like, it's an actual what? What is it?
What rhymes with desire?
Yeah.
I do want to say in that sequence, there was a thing in the 70s where anyone could be a sex symbol. So it's like this relatively decent, well-built, but not quite like rippling abs and no butt whatsoever in a mankini. It's like, I'm like, man, people used to be able to look like that and be in movies. I miss that.
There's I think it's very clear the origin of the gaze, who is looking at whom in the making of this film. The women are gorgeous. They look very like marketably attractive, and the men are interesting to look at. I take that back because like Alfie is actually like he's got like a nice shaggy chest that I think is very easy on the eyes. But a pandy or dandy, I cannot remember which is which. I agree. Like the underwear is ambitious that he's wearing.
I can't remember if it was Pandy or Dandy now.
I think it was Dandy because Pandy is the one that sings I want to come or whatever.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What a sentiment.
P or D.
This is a movie. PG. Same rating as Up. Think about that. All right, Matt, first watch. What shocked you the most?
Gosh, I think it's so hard to choose. That vampire really sticks out to me. There's also like the speed. The song Speed is it's just such a banger. Like I love it and I want to see a drag queen do it. I think one of my favorite moments is actually, it's just a small thing, but and one of very few small things. Oh gosh, but then there's also the clown. Like there's just a clown that pops up for no reason. God. Anyway,
yeah.
No, I think my actual favorite thing is the second song in the movie, You're Made for Me. It comes like 20 minutes in. So you might not even realize that you're in a musical at this point. It's the first moment of like, the moment of this is going to be a song where like people just burst into song. And it seems to like shock the cast when it happens. He starts singing, like the music starts very suddenly and everyone starts singing and dancing. And it completely like, it's like that moment where they go to hell and you're like, oh, are we here now? Is that what this movie is?
Oh,
it seems like the movie's just like changed its mind about what kind of film it is, because it seems like we're going into like a very classic, like 40s golden age, or at least trying to achieve some of that, that vibe, kind of musical number. And then it just ends and it goes away. And like so many things in this movie, you're left feeling like, did that happen? Was that a dream? Did we have a musical number? Did she just envision it, or did it actually happen? Is that the kind of movie we're in? I don't know.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's open to interpretation.
All right.
So,
sorry.
I have one more thing to say about this. We've covered a lot of Christian musicals, and this is the best one.
Wow. That's what
It is worth noting that this was originally written to be a Hebrew musical by two Israelis, and then the director came in and is like, these movie musicals are making a lot of money. Why don't we just turn it into a picture here? And then he added all the things that you think he would have added. And now we've got this movie.
I guess there isn't necessarily a Jesus figure, but I feel as though the rapture and the mark of the beast and all of that sort of stuff is usually Christian. I'm not really sure. Maybe you could argue that it's not a Christian piece.
I'm not super Bible fluent, but it does feel like the inspiration is very Old Testament rather than New Testament. If I had to,
that's true.
Do my best to interpret.
A lot of Christian fundamentalists do lean into that. So, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, though, there is no Jesus figure.
So
No.
I think it is more of a Jewish show if you think about
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so I have to take it back. It's not the best Christian musical we've seen.
It's the second best Jewish musical. This and Fiddler right neck and neck.
Yeah,
my God.
Fiddler is definitely still better than this. But
What?
This is more
How
fun to
dare you.
watch in an hour and a half.
Yeah, this is much shorter than Fiddler.
It does. I think it goes down easy. There's some parts of I keep comparing it to Xanadu because they happened around the same time. But there's some parts of Xanadu that do kind of drag. And I don't think you have that same issue with the Apple. It's just it's fun from start to finish.
It is a blast all the way. Even the parts that are like that you would think are terrible are funny. So it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Before we go into previews, I do want to talk a little bit about how this film was received and the insanity that is the slight behind the scenes. So it premiered at the Montreal Film Festival, which was kind of its North American premiere, and people hated it. They were given like free LPs at the door and they just started throwing it at the screen. And the director was so disheartened by it, he like attempted suicide and was stopped by like his partner that night. It was a rough time, but it found its home and it found its place, and the two songwriters are still around today, and they're like, up to the day he died, that film director was talking about a follow-up to The Apple. Like, even in 2012, he was like, we're gonna do another The Apple. So this was a big passion project for him.
How did people react so negatively to it? Like, it's
can
not
see it.
that bad. I don't know.
I mean, this is Lindsay Ellis talked about this recently on her podcast, Musical Splaining, about how a lot of the films at the time reached attracted a level of ire that looking back, they just didn't deserve. I think we might look at Cats 2019 the same way. It's something that I think is there's just such joy in there, but there's sort of a stigma around some of the trappings of the 70s that felt very dated. Things shifted, musical taste shifted very rapidly in a very short amount of time. And so I think that was part of it. I think there was sort of a somewhat homophobic, somewhat racist backlash to disco that, persuaded people to greet it with some level of toxicity. So I think that's part of it. And it just didn't have, I don't know, we were entering a period in the 80s where it was all about like conspicuous opulence. And I don't know that the Apple really indulges that taste in the way that people might have been looking for. Here's the other thing is it's not a sophisticated film. Like it's not a film with any like irony or, deeper meaning. It's kind of gleeful and delightful.
On the surface.
Yeah.
Everything is on the surface.
So I don't know. I think it might've been easy for people to look down on it.
Unlike Cats, this doesn't feel cynical in any way.
Yeah, Cats was a very cynical move, especially if you trace it back.
Although maybe at the time it did feel cynical. I'm not sure.
I will say that maybe it's because of the audience. Remember, this is premiering at a film festival, which I think they should have premiered this at a roller rink. That it would have had the best like reaction there, like a very nice like movie house somewhere small where everyone's like, yeah, let's go, let's have fun, but not at a snooty film festival where you're aiming to get reviews, which is what they were trying to do. They thought this was a cabaret style musical that was going to get real big attention, was the vibe I was getting from the behind the scenes stories.
More of like a Rocky Horror kind of thing.
I think that would have been like what saved it if that had emerged. Like if some sort of like midnight movie quality, if it had that. But I think Rocky is so knowing and so subversive, and I don't feel that the Apple is subversive in quite the right way that it would earn like.
It doesn't go far enough.
Yeah. if you feel like a marginalized person, I don't think you're going to be drawn to the Apple in the same way that you would to Rocky Horror.
It doesn't have any of those themes.
Yeah.
In it necessarily.
And also, it's
I don't know.
a
We can
different
bring
type
it back
of fun.
now, though. I mean, I feel like this is the time.
I would
know what?
love that.
A
the
stage
time.
adaptation. Time for a stage adaptation, guys.
I think it's doable. I mean, I think now is the time. We're well past 1994. We are the future.
I have long said that it would be a fantastic stage musical. This, and I just did a video on my YouTube channel about the movie Mannequin. I think both of those things are just would work perfectly on stage.
Cannot agree more. We talked a lot about people's reactions. It's now time to compare our opinions to those of, let's not call it theater critics, but definitely people that have opinions. It's time for our favorite section,
with
previews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
So, what we usually do is we usually compare our opinions to the New York Times review of whatever musical we covered. This didn't really have that kind of draw out, so I tried. We're going to play a game, Matt, basically, is
Okay.
what we're going to happen between you and Andrew. It's a game called 5 Stars or 1 Star, where I'm going to have myself read the review, and you both have to guess whether it was a 5-star review or a 1-star review. And these
I
are
love
all
this.
from Letterboxd.
Great.
It'll be back and forth, and then at the end, if there's a tie, there'll be a tiebreaker. So,
I can't imagine the kind of person who would dare leave a 1-star review of this movie.
ooh, it's not the ones you'd expect is the weirdest part, which is what triggered this. I was like, wow. I don't quite know what to take away from that.
Okay.
But Matt, you're up first.
All right, let's do it.
So this is their first review, and it just says, latest reports indicate that BIM continues to be on the way. That was the full review.
Well, oh man, I'm really thrown by how you said it's not the ones you expect. I mean, the level of knowledge to know the lyric of the song, to reference it, suggests to me that this is a fan. So I'm going to guess 5-star, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid
They
to
had
guess
to watch
5-star.
at least the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm
And then
gonna
again,
say 5-star.
it's like one of the few songs that repeats because they sing it at the start and then they sing it for another like 10 minutes in the middle. So it is the most common song in it. That was a 1-star review.
I was afraid
I
of that.
know. All right, Andrew, you're up.
All right.
All right. You ready? You're ready.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Remember, this is from Letterboxd. These are not my opinions. These are not my words or opinions. So this review says one of the all-time gayest.
I mean, that could be positive. So I'm gonna. It could also be really. I want to give charity here and say it's positive. So I'm gonna say 5 stars.
That was 5 stars. All right,
Okay.
all right, Matt, you can still win this. Don't worry, we got a couple of these left.
right.
All right, you ready? This
Yes.
one will probably be a little easiest. What the actual shit? I have no schema in my head for what I just witnessed. Everyone has to watch it. Hey, BIM's on the way.
Okay, that everyone has to watch it makes me think 5-star.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with.
It's a 1 star.
No,
I know.
Okay. How you're giving him all the trick ones?
I'm
That's
really
ridiculous.
not. I'm really not. Andrew.
What's
Okay.
wild is like all the things, all the critiques, all the things that people are saying, like, are is exactly the same way that I would endorse the film.
Yeah,
Like, they
everyone
also-
should watch it. BIM is on the way. 1 star.
It's bringing down my letterbox there. Can't have that up there with Citizen Kane. All right, Andrew, you're up.
Okay.
Totally coherent and full of catchy tunes. Real earbugs like Coming All Over the Face and I'm Loaded on Ludes with Dracula. Very little rollerblading and youth hockey for 1994.
I mean, that's obviously very sarcastic. Yeah, I gotta go with 1 star. That sounds like a really negative review.
That is correct. I'm feeling bad now.
See, that wasn't a trick one, though. You're giving him all the trick ones.
All right. Matt, you're next.
Okay,
This is the full review. And today I watched The Apple.
that's the entire thing.
That's the entire review.
You got nothing to work with.
I'm gonna say 1 star because that one sounds a little resentful.
It was 5 stars.
Oh man,
I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to trick
I feel
anyone.
like this is an indictment of the of Letterboxd. These
It really is, though.
These are impossible to tell.
And that's part of the fun of the game. All right, Andrew,
Today
back
I
to you.
watched The Apple.
I like
5
that it
stars.
starts with the word "and," as if to say like an additional thing, but that's the full statement. Here is the review. Erg, I love this so much.
I mean, the obvious choice is 5 stars, but I feel like it's got to be a trick now. I'm going with 5 stars. It's not a trick.
That is a 1 star.
I think Letterboxd users just don't know what criticism. They just don't know how to evaluate.
Is Letterboxd like? Is it flipped? Is 1 star the most?
No, not at all.
They use golf scoring.
Well, technically, these are all like a half star, but that isn't as catchy, so I went 1 star. So it's the highest rating and the lowest rating is basically.
So it's a half of a star. So
Yeah.
it's actually less. They gave
Yes.
it less than 1 star.
Yes, every one of these is technically less than 1 star. All right,
Okay.
all right, Matt, you got this.
Okay.
As the boneheads like to say, this movie has no religious undertones.
Whoa. Okay. It's impossible for me to anticipate how this person feels about the movie. Gosh, this movie has no religious undertones, and
I think they're right.
They're overtones.
All overtones.
That feels to me like, I don't know, someone who has at least thought about the film, but I don't know, like these people seem to feel that, like, I don't know, the more they think about the movie, the less they like it. So I'm going to say this is a 1 star review.
That was 5 stars.
Good lord.
All right, Matt. Andrew, you're up.
Okay,
We got 3
yeah.
more. I don't
Oh,
think there's
God.
going to be a tiebreaker here, but
I mean, who knows?
here's the review. I genuinely wonder if I left my body for a brief moment during this movie and just started hallucinating.
It sounds negative, unless they're like on a drug trip, in which case that would be a good one. I'm gonna go with 1 star. This is a 1 star.
That is a 1 star. All right, Matt.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to give you the last 2. Andrew's done, so you got a couple choices. I have not been keeping up with points in any way whatsoever.
Okay.
It's lightning in a bottle, shit lightning in a subpar bottle, but even so.
All right. I'm going to guess 1 star. I'm going to guess 1 star.
That was 5 stars.
Jeez.
I promise you, Andrew can scroll down and look at these to make sure that I'm not like cheating.
I have not done so yet. The audience knows.
All right, here's the last one. This is the only what if heterosexuality were illegal dystopia that actually slaps. Praise be unto BIM and the boogalocracy.
What?
That sounds like they liked it, so I'm going to guess 5 stars.
We're
but
ending on a good note. You got it.
Oh, good. I was starting to wonder. I don't know what stars mean.
The stars are unrelated to
Yeah.
the text.
The stars are not aligned.
This was so much fun. I love this. Thank you, Matt, for being such a good sport about this.
Yeah, you bet. I feel so disoriented. I feel more disoriented from the reviews than I feel from the movie.
Well, that says more about Letterboxd than it does about the Apple, to be honest.
I love this so much. 1 star. How, like, what?
I know Letterboxd is a cesspool, and they all think they're real critics. That's the best part.
Well, I give them 1 star.
Yes, 1 star to you people.
Lightning in a bottle, shit lightning in a subpar bottle. 5 stars.
And that was this week's previews. On that note, how about we go into a mid-show announcement and then we talk about some songs?
Yes.
Please.
All right. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a show at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, what's Patreon? And what do they get?
Oh boy, Patreon is where you can go if you want to support us, and you give money to creators like us. Lord knows we need it.
Yes, we do.
You can also get commentary tracks that we do and video versions of every episode.
Yeah, you can see Matt's beautiful face right now. Oh my god, he's doing flips. Oh my gosh, get off the ceiling, Matt. That's dangerous. You're back.
You can't stop me. Here I
Oh
go.
my gosh.
He can't be stopped. Oh my
Can't
god.
stop the music, and I am the
It's
music.
actually, yeah.
He's got a big old apple. Don't take a bite of the apple, Matt.
I'm taking a bite.
Don't bite the apple.
I gotta take the bite.
He did it. Oh, you know what? Now that he's finished the apple, I see something on the tip of his lips. I can just see he really wants to say join our Patreon. He wants to say it. I can see it.
Please join our Patreon.
I got him to say it.
I didn't say whose Patreon, just ours. Could be anybody. That could be
He's got a
that could be
Patreon.
anywhere.
He's got bonus videos on there. Join his Patreon, but join ours first.
Rude.
All right. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Leighton Ackles, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Tess Gear, Fire September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maneri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Van Als, Rusk Walker Musical, Hell, Emily Gracie, Tablam, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Scoot the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Felice A, Liz Lim, Allison Stellar, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Van Als, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Jacob Stroop, Rafael Martinez Salaz, Robert Benjamin, Rachel T, Jessica T, Genevieve Hartnett, Cass, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Timothy Keys, Jeffrey Machado, Toon Van Essen, R. Elliott, Chris Marcotte, Katie Sherberg, Tommy Mo Robinson, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Layla, RJ Norija, Sebastian Canino, Evan Regan, Lizzie Caines, Charlie B, Patrick Deering, Julia McLennan, and Courtney Schreiner. They all give us financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals for Cheese, helps us keep Bree employed, doing our editing. She's coming back soon, don't worry. So why don't you come join us over at our Patreon, or else you're just not cool enough. Bite the apple, guys. Come on, take a bite of the apple.
Yeah,
the
take a
Patreon
bite.
apple.
Take a bite.
All right, on that note, let's get back to the show.
There ain't no pride.
There ain't no shame.
There ain't no sympathy.
There ain't no blame.
There ain't no pleasure.
There ain't no pain.
There ain't power.
There ain't no power.
Hey, hey, this on the way. Hey, this on the way. Hey, hey, this on the way. Hey, this on the way.
So, the BIM song is what we open on, and it just introduces you to the insanity that you're into, but also tricks you into thinking this is going to be a more normal film than it is. At the same time, it is both insane and mundane. What is it doing? What is this song doing?
It's such a smorgasbord. There's so many different like instruments happening. There's so many different like vocal ideas happening. My favorite part is like when somebody like is dancing off the side of the stage and they like dance into the fog. Like it's just a cloud. They're just enveloped by the cloud, and you lose sight of them. It's a little of everything. But I guess it's like a stadium power ballad, like a disco stadium power ballad. I guess
It looks like a dope show. Like,
honestly, yeah.
I would love to be there.
Yeah.
And get
It
your
does seem
heartbeat
fun.
counted.
Yeah.
My heartbeat would be at least 150, probably higher.
I mean, it's a great number. It is not an opening number in the traditional sense of a musical, I don't think, though.
I think it sets up the world perfectly.
Really?
Because BIM is on the way.
But BIM never arrives.
I guess it does. It really does establish like the whole vibe, the BIM vibe, which is
Yes.
power, the accumulation of power. That's what's important to people. That's like popular at that point. So I mean, it does establish that. And it's
Also, I mean,
it's a
BIM
happy audience. They're having a great time.
the BIM music style is consistent as well, because you later get the song Speed when, you know, the what is her name?
BB.
BB?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the names here. I'm just now realizing Pandy, Dandy, both spelled with I's. You have BB, Alfie, all spelled with I's. What is going on here? What is this? I didn't even notice this.
And then Boogaloo.
Yeah, and Boogaloo.
Spelled with a W-O-W, so it should be Boogaloo.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know what it meant to Golan and Globus, who made this and a ton of other wonderful fiascos in the 80s. They also made Breakin' and Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. So Boogaloo came back as a subtitle that means nothing in that film. So I don't...
It's just there. Does that mean that the Apple actually does have cultural relevance in that way? Because Electric Boogaloo is like a joke, right? It's like pretty common.
Well, it's Canon Films, which is the company that made a lot of that stuff. They I think they did make an enduring impact on the culture, for better or for worse. They also made Charles Bronson. They made a bunch of movies with Charles Bronson, so they kind of like made him a thing. And now and then they actually had a hit. They did Runaway Train, the Sylvester Stallone. Oh, not the. So they did Runaway Train, which was a good movie, and then they did the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie, Over the Top.
But let's not forget what their follow-up to the Apple was going to be. And this is actually famous. It was supposed to be the first live-action Spider-Man movie starring Dolph Lundgren as the Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about this. This sounds awful.
Stan Lee is J. Jonah Jameson. It was supposed to be produced by the director of the Apple, and that was like their next big thing. That obviously fell through.
Imagine if that gets referenced in the new Spider-Man.
There is a trailer. Bree, play a clip from the trailer for the Canon Films version of Spider-Man.
Within this unsuspecting city, history's greatest experiment creates tomorrow's greatest superhero. Spider-Man, the movie. A live-action spectacular directed by Joe Zito, based on the characters created by Stan Lee.
And then we all just take a sigh of relief that didn't happen.
But it is getting referenced in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, where he will be in that Spider-Man universe. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, I wish someone would be that obscure with it.
Where were we?
Yeah, let's actually move on to the next song I really want to talk about. I'm going to talk about mostly things we didn't touch on in the first half. Show Business might be one of the worst songs I've heard in this album. Like, mostly just how they say show business and where the emphasis is on the wrong syllable.
Like a puppet on the string, like a monkey on a swing. Man is clinging to the ropes of the fantasies and hopes we are dangling.
Mr. Boogaloo!
He's so eager to believe, and so easily deceived. Like a baby watching magic, he's so gullible, it's tragic in the world naive. Life is nothing but show business. In 1994, we fight for the spotlight. We kill or encore. Life is nothing but show business. The world's a cabaret. We live for their fortune. We die for their fame.
That's one of my favorite details about this movie. Life is nothing but show business. Like, it's the least, it has the worst cadence. I think what's going on there is part of it might just be a translation issue, because the songs were not originally written in English, as far as I know. And so
Nope.
I think that might just be like a translation problem. But, and gosh, what a beautiful like staging of that one too. It's like they just went to a mall like in the day, like one day, like the mall was closed, or like it's an airport lobby or something. Nobody's mic'd properly, so it sounds like really weirdly echoey. Like, and they're hard to understand because like they're just like the reverb in the room is terrible. Yeah, that's the one where I feel like Nigel Lithgow, if he was actually doing any choreography there, might have been, taking a lunch break when they worked on that number.
Yeah, that number is probably the worst executed number in the film, and
it's followed up by one of like the better ones too. So
yes,
it's weird.
It is followed up by The Apple, which is like one of the best musical sequences ever. Let's just say it like that.
It's just absolutely bonkers.
It's a natural desire. Meet an actual vampire. Let the apple set your soul on fire. You'll be hypnotized and you'll be demonized, but you'll be paralyzed, so you'll be victimized. You're fascinated, captivated, losing your mind when we cast the apple eye on you. Holy apple, sacred apple, take a little chance, get into a trance, and join me in the apple dance.
And I'm just saying, like, imagine this on stage. Just imagine you're at the theater. It's kind of like the spooky Hell Dream from Mormon.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, what a perfect, like, you got monsters coming out of everywhere. You do like weird lighting. The vampires, why are you here? Everyone's like dressed in like next to nothing. What a perfect opportunity to do like a cat's trick where everyone's like climbing through the audience. I would love to see it.
Yeah, do the Apple on Broadway, please. Specifically this number. I just think that this is like made for the stage, and don't change any of the costumes. No, keep integrity to all the costumes.
The cheaper, the better. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I completely agree. Do they do shadow casts of the Apple? They have to, right?
I don't think I've ever seen one. What a joy it would be. Like, I've always dreamt of something like that, but I don't think this one is as notorious as, like, these days everybody's all about The Room. Everybody's like, oh, The Room, it's the worst movie ever made. And I found The Room, like, kind of like falls short of this one.
It's really not like the worst, or it's not even really the funniest.
The Room you
People
cannot
like
watch on your own. The Room is boring as hell to watch on your own. This is a joy
really
to
is.
watch on your own. This is so much fun to watch by yourself.
Yeah.
But also fun with a group. I think it would be fun with a group as well.
Yeah.
I would be so delighted. There's like a weird drag bar here in Seattle. There's quite a few actually, but there used to be one called Rebar, and then there's a bunch around the corner that I think would be like, they're these weird kind of dingy basement bars that I think would just be it was just a perfect venue for, like, everyone's crammed in back when we can, go back to doing this. We can go back to cramming people into weird spaces. This strange basement venue, cram them all in, have some real low budget costumes and visual effects, and get creative and do a fun The Apple for a live audience. It would be so much fun. I'm begging drag performers all over the world to do this.
I want this in my life. I will go. Like, I don't care. Seattle, I'll be there. I'm going to that.
Whatever it takes.
Let's get it touring. Let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, a touring production of a drag version of the Apple. I am in. Oh God, yes, please. Let's talk about.
It's almost just a regular version of the Apple, but
yeah. Let's talk about How to Be a Master, which might be racist in 12 different ways.
Reaching the top is such a long, hard climb. Millions of people stand and wait in line. Do you think I got there being patient and kind? Yes, I know how to be a master.
Push and shove and claw.
Step on those who fall.
It takes no time at all.
When you know how to be a master.
He knows how to be a master.
It's boring being cruel continuously. Sometimes I tire, so I show sympathy. But now we've had this tete-a-tete, you see. Yes, I know how to be a master.
Lure them into chains.
Whip them till they're tame.
They'll learn to love their pain.
When you know how to be a master.
It's a white man singing reggae, for one, like, which is just weird to the ears.
also just not a very good song.
That too, but he's talking about how he's the master and they're all slaves, and they very much focus on the two, like, servants of color every time they talk about what a great master he is, and I'm like, I don't much appreciate what you're trying to do here, movie. It feels like you're trying to make a point, but you also don't understand the point.
Yeah, boy, it's that's one of the songs that I think lands really bizarrely.
Yes.
It's I have no explanation for it. They're like, let's just put a reggae song in the middle of this and just give it to an almost all white cast. Baffling. Adds literally nothing. That's one of the few.
Does that mean the two Boogaloo songs are just the worst songs?
But they're also the best because they're so bad. Like, but I love his dedication to non-dedication, I think, is the best way to describe it.
He doesn't really sing.
He raps. He'd be great in Hamilton.
Yeah, definitely not a singer. That's Vladek Sheybal, who is also a Bond villain. I forget which one he's in.
Casino Royale, the original one.
No.
And they mention Casino Royale in the lyrics.
The Woody Allen Casino Royale?
Am I remembering right? I think he's in the original James Bond Casino Royale. Am I
Okay, yeah.
correct
Well,
here?
so Casino Royale's been made a couple of times. There's
Oh,
there's quite a few interpretations
There's
of
like
that one.
800 Bond movies, so you
Yeah.
have to be really specific.
No. He's in From Russia with Love.
oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a real weird Bond before Sean Connery with just an incredible cast. Peter Sellers and gosh, this shows you what who's the guy who made Citizen Kane? Orson Welles.
Orson
Couldn't
Welles,
remember his
yes.
name for a moment. Yeah, Orson Welles and Peter Sellers have a scene together, and apparently they hated each other so much that their parts had to be filmed separately. It's
What?
just it's a real mess.
Wow. James Bond movies are a fucking mess.
I've seen like one of them. Sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry. Oh my god.
We gotta talk about Speed.
Yeah, we do got to talk about Speed.
I want to
Speed-
live in that movie, in that song. Like if I could just live in Speed, like her energy and enthusiasm. It's I don't know. She feels like one more moment she's just gonna like drop dead. But
Yeah.
well, she
it's
can
like-
keep the energy up. It's beautiful.
It's like being on Speed.
It is.
I mean, it's supposed to be like fake enthusiasm, right? Because they're trying to show that like Bim is cynical and whatever, and they force you to do these songs. But it's still fun. I don't know.
It's just a hit. Like I know it's supposed to be like, oh, they're making her do shitty music, but it's one of my favorite songs of the show.
I mean, come on, the Universal Melody song. It's not. It can't be as.
Come
good
on,
as that.
Bim is on the way. They know what they're doing.
Also, I do need to like just shout out the actress Catherine Mary Stewart for like
Yes.
her choreography with the boots. She is wearing some really challenging boots in that number, and she's doing some kicks that are just like fantastic. Like great work all
Goddamn.
around. Yeah.
And her syncing on set, because that is not her voice, that is a dubbed actress.
No.
It is wonderful. Like it
Yeah.
is like seamless. I thought it was her, and then I looked up and I was like, oh no, it looked good. Good on
I
y'all.
wouldn't have even known that unless you just said it right there.
The screening of this that I went to in Los Angeles, there's a lot of people who are like devotees and like people who are like industry people, like very into like television, you know, the stuff like that. And there is during Speed, there's a brief appearance by an actress whose name I've forgotten. She's just like a background person in this song. She's like straddling a motorcycle at one point, but she's apparently an actress from a soap opera. I don't know the deal, but like she got a round of applause for like the second and a half that she appeared on film when I was in that theater. People recognized her, they knew who she was, and they were so happy to see her. So I don't know, it was a little Easter egg in the middle of Speed.
I mean, I think there's another Easter egg, and I want to make sure I got this one right. Okay. So there's a very famous musician and composer in the middle of like the industry meeting where he's like, he was like a journalist, and he's like, oh, you paid off the journalist? No, we bought his entire thing. That guy, his name is George S. Clinton, and he has written music for like 1,000 different places, like the Mortal Kombat original score and the Austin Powers scores, the Santa Claus 2, and he's just in this movie as like a random guy in the background.
Well, he did the score for the Apple. Like they, so there's this husband and wife couple that did
Yes.
the original music, and I think he did did he do the translation? I think he worked with them on the translation. So it is really weird to be like, oh, that guy. Like, I mean, nobody would recognize him because he's a music guy and he's always behind the camera. But still,
yeah.
it's so like this was one of his early jobs.
And he's a named character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Coming.
Yes,
Nice.
please.
Coming for you. Now I'm coming for you. Let me tempt you and tease you and hold you and squeeze you and feel every inch of your love. Let me show you things you never dreamed of. Ooh.
So this is a very subtle song.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Boy.
really subtle. It's a lot of undertones. You got to really read in deep to Coming.
I think this is one of the moments that was responsible for the movie getting like a negative reception because it's visually it's pretty queer,
Right.
At least comparatively to what else was being made at the time, and also, gosh, this song is just so explicit and filthy. The choreography as well, like it's just this is actually I do think like it has some good choreography, like when people are like tumbling around on the beds, like it looks great. It's gymnastic and people are doing great stuff and they're nearly naked, but wow, it is shockingly sexual.
Yes.
It's PG.
Yeah, it's PG.
It's for kids.
It's for kids. You could show your child this and it would be fine.
Incredible. Just imagine being at this movie with like, I don't know, your grandparents or something. Wow, what a moment to just like look awkwardly around at whoever else is like
I don't know.
staring.
My grandparents, those horn dogs.
They were probably the ones at the original screen, like, oh, that's the best scene.
I interviewed a guy a while back who was remembering, like, he grew up in New York and he would go to Broadway shows every now and then. And he had this vivid memory of being taken by a priest, no less, to see a show called, this is a real thing, it was a show called Let My People Come. And it was sort of a ripoff of Hair, I think. It was sort of it's sort of a ripoff of Hair and O Calcutta, two other daring musicals of the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's just like an incredibly obscene, like start to finish all the way through musical. But it does have a song called I'm Gay that I do recommend people listen to because it is the most mournful, plaintive coming out I've ever heard. Like it's supposed to be very serious, but it's just hysterical. Anyway, so
Great.
I'm Coming, another sure hit from the Apple. People are going to love it.
But the thing is, I think that's the last like really good song. Like you've got the "I Found Me" number, but that's about it. Nothing really hits the same way.
Yeah, the I Stand Alone song, is that the one where they're singing in the rain?
Think so. That sounds right. That
Something
feels
like that.
logically the next.
Come on, Jess. They bring back Universal Melody, though. I mean, come on.
Oh, great! Yeah, they bring back everyone's favorite song. The Karen Carpenter ripoff song.
Dude, no, that was giving me a heartbeat over 150. He was 151. So.
Yeah. I watched this with my partner, and she was just like, "Man, you know what? I like this. This is already better than Annette." like as soon as she's like, "I like this song. It's just like nice song." And that sold her on the movie. She sat through all the rest of it just because she liked that first song. So you can't deny that song works for people. It does get your heartbeat over 151 beats per second.
It does the job.
That's right.
On that note, I think it's time for us to wrap this on up. All right, guys, what is our overall thoughts on the Apple and our cheese ratings? Matt, are you aware of our cheese ratings?
I am not.
All right, I'll let Andrew go first, and it kind of speaks for himself. Andrew, you're on first.
All right. This is an amazing movie that everyone should watch. Probably with drinks and with friends as well, because all your friends should watch it too. I don't have that much more to say. Cheese rating. You know there's just a thing called apple cheese? That's just a thing.
Wow.
Yeah. It says it's apples mixed with sugar, so I don't even think it's really cheese, but it seems too appropriate to not give it to this, so I'm going to give it that.
You know what? I cannot blame you for that. All right. All right, Matt, you got any ideas? What are your overall thoughts and your cheese rating?
Oh, a hoot for all audiences. Just a blast from start to finish. Recommended for everyone. And I don't know, like, do I need to assign a variety of cheese to the movie? Like, if this movie was oh gosh, I mean, I just call it like a real solid supermarket cheddar in that it improves everything. Like everything tastes better when you got a little bit of apple on top of it.
I cannot disagree with that. I love this. This was so much fun. I've watched it twice since like it is so much fun. I can't wait to like pull it out of like parties and stuff. There's only one thing I can give it. There's this song by a gentleman called Gary Corbin called Cheese Boogaloo, and literally I cannot give it anything that is not that.
Wow.
I don't care if it's a song, but it's called Cheese Boogaloo, so how can I not give it that?
Oh, okay.
This was a blast and a half. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate your time today. You have amazing content. I love binging it. I love just watching it. Great stuff. You're also one of the few people that actually knows how to use live streams correctly. Very good at that. Promote your stuff for the world to see for the 3 people that might not know about it.
Yeah, well, so if you enjoyed listening to me babble endlessly about this, come check out my YouTube videos. It's youtube.com/Matt Baume. I do videos, basically pop culture history videos about moments on TV and film that changed the world, where queer culture and pop culture intersect. So check me out over there. I've also got a podcast called The Sewers of Paris. That's at thesewersofparis.com. I talk to LGBTQ folks about the entertainment that changed their lives. And I do some live streams over on Twitch. You can find me there, twitch.tv/Matt Baume. Every Monday afternoon, I do some, just laid back, hanging out, chit chat. And I've got a newsletter. You can find my cozy, cute little newsletter at mattbaume.com. Sign up for it there. You get some sneak peeks at what I'm working on. I just posted a video over on YouTube about the movie Mannequin and Hollywood Montrose, the hero we never knew we needed in the 80s. I did some videos recently about, so many things. One about Starsky and Hutch to Murder, She Wrote, about how different gay bars have been portrayed on TV from the 70s into the 80s. I've got a video up there about The Nanny, about the Nanny's gay episodes, some about Friends, about how Chandler was almost a gay character on Friends until they changed their mind on that. So anyway, check that out on my YouTube, and you can get a little sneak peek at what I'm working on next over on my newsletter. That's at mattbaume.com.
And I also do like to promote the work that I think our audience would be most keen to jump off point. We do mention the Muppets a lot on this show, and you did a beautiful retrospective on Richard Hunt and his life and how he's impacted the Muppets. That was an incredible video. Thank you for that video. I know we've got a lot of Muppets fans out here, so check that one out and then dive through all the rest of it because it's all great content. It's all a 10 out of 10.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a real hoot, doing a real deep dive on the Muppets.
All great content.
It's 100% great content. One star.
Thumbs down.
Thank you so much for joining us, Matt.
Thanks so much for having me.
Any social medias you want to point out?
It's just all my name, youtube.com/Matt Baume, twitter.com/Matt Baume, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. I'm on everything. You can find me there.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Please like us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We currently have a patron-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese, where currently I think we're just wrapping up Schmigadoon and we're about to tackle the Cinderella adaptation that just premiered on Prime. You're going to have to take a look at that on our Patreon feed. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card is created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go send her some love on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Thank you for that. Our show is produced by the incredible, the wonderful, the sadly, she's coming back soon, I promise, Brianna Jones. Our theme songs are created by the amazing Robin Nash of IOU Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking so much shit about Letterboxd. I know you've got Letterboxd in your pocket, Broadway Podcast Network, but we will not be reigned by any corporate overlords. We will not wear your sticker.
Won't wear the BIM sticker.
I will not wear the BPN sticker. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this on up?
BIM's all the way.
Hey, hey, hey.
BIM's on the way. Is it BIM is on the way or BIM is all the way?
There's no way to know.
It's probably both.
Hey, hey, hey. BIM is on the way. We'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese.